The most important question that I must clarify from the start is, do you get to kill zombies in this game? The answer might surprise you because you don't. Of course you do, that's the whole purpose of having zombies in games. Now when I finish the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners game, I feel entitled to tell you what you can expect from it. In this video, without spoilers, I will tell you about the plot, game world design, progression, combat, and the barely working flashlight. Or fleshlight. Well, this thing that you have to shake in your hand if you want to make it work. So the plot. For NPCs, the player is known as Tourist.
Well, I'll be damned. The Tourist. In the flesh.
At the beginning of the game, you are told the legend of the Reserve. An old military bunker filled with supplies and weapons for hundreds of people. Nobody knows for sure if it's true, but during the main quest, player learns more and more about the reserve, and every step gets you closer to finding it. The story kept me engaged all the time. It felt like I'm working towards something valuable and meaningful. There are two NPC factions attempting to find the reserve as well.
The tower on one side, reclaimed renegades are on the other.
They also fight with each other and zombies, so sometimes it's possible to sneak in and get what you want while NPCs are in combat with someone else. Main quests are quite easy and technically can be accomplished with a starting gear. But of course, having better weapons and passive upgrades makes things easier and faster, since you can kill everyone in the area and avoid sneaking altogether. The tasks are intuitive. There is nowhere to get lost. Solutions to every task can be found just by listening to NPCs, reading letters or quest logs which are telling you what to do. All VR players know how annoying it is when you are stuck and have to remove the headset to Google for the solution. In this game, there is no need for that, which positively affects the immersion. The game has no intended jump scares. It only has the atmosphere of walking among zombies in the dark with corpses everywhere. So completely suitable for people who are not fans of horror games. The most scary part is how hard zombies knock on doors when they want to get out. It took me around 3 in-game weeks to complete the main story, that's around 10 hours of gameplay. After that you can continue playing as usual, though the only goal that remains is survival. About game world design. The game has a certain amount of unique locations and you basically teleport between them using this floating thing. Look, I'm not trying to insult any boats who may watch this video, but for the sake of simplicity, let's call it a boat. There is a small map on every one of these boats, and by interacting with it you will be able to select and travel to any unlocked zone. The main quests will guide you through these locations, but nothing stops you from visiting them at any time to engage in side activities. Each time you arrive at a new location, all the loot resets, and you can meet an NPC who may offer you a side quest, which will reward you with useful stuff such as box of materials or some kind of useful information, such as codes that opens a safe. By the way, only in this game I realized that I never in my gamer's life gave the quest item to a quest giver. It was always the chat option that teleports required items out of my inventory. I'm actually able to literally give an item to someone.
Take this in exchange.
In each location you can stay for a fixed amount of time. There's a watch on your hand that shows how much time you have left. Once time runs out, bells will ring and horde will attack. There will be so many zombies that you will simply run out of ammo and melee weapons if you decide to stay and fight them. The system has exceptions. Sometimes there will be no horde coming and you can be in the location for long periods of time.
Herd will not be stirred.
But you will learn about it later in the game. At the start, as soon as you hear bells ringing, you will have to run towards the nearest boat mark to get back to home location to save your progress. There is no option to manually save the game. It only saves at base location when you initiate sleep by drinking alcohol. I guess there is some logic in that. Or by using a boat when moving to another location. When your health reaches 0, you will never guess what happens. You will die. But don't worry, only in-game. Then you will have two options. Restart last autosave when you arrived at the location. This will reset all progress you made on this map. Or respawn without items and get back to where you died to recover your backpack. Progression in this game works like this. Every time you sleep, there will be less loot and more enemies. And you cannot avoid sleeping since you can use boat to move to another location only during the day. And there are certain quests that requires you to pass time in order to be able to continue them.
Hey, tourist, we have to move quick on this last repair, but it's best to do it under cover of darkness.
That might sound like you should rush the main quests in order to avoid growing difficulty, but it's totally okay to play at your own pace. I was mainly scavenging materials and bringing them back to base at the start of a game and had no issues with the difficulty later on when I switched to doing main quests again. The biggest difference is that the valuable trash, however ironic that sounds, won't be simply laying everywhere in streets, but looting the house will still fill up your inventory relatively quickly. Every passing day increases the chance of meeting stronger enemies, such as infected zombies that decrease your health when killed at close range, zombies with helmets, and human enemies with automatic weapons. Collecting scraps is what you will be doing most of the time when you are not busy killing enemies. Scraps can be recycled into raw materials with the help of a bin in the bus. Remember kids, zombie apocalypse or not, recycling is the way to be. You will need basic materials to be able to craft weapons, ammo, food, and upgrade workbenches in base location. There are 3 workbenches. Upgrading each of them will unlock new craftable items or sometimes passive bonuses for your character. Returning with the inventory full of scraps will usually allow you to upgrade 1 or 2 stations, so everything can be unlocked relatively quickly. By the time I finished the main quests, all workbenches were almost maxed out. Now about the combat. You will need to get rid of zombies after all. It's not very comfortable to do things when someone is trying to eat you. While it is possible to sneak or run away from attackers, inside the buildings that won't work so well. In order to kill a zombie, you have to damage its brain. The game calls it braining. I'm not sure how logical that is. It doesn't look like damaging zombies' brain will make them more stupid than they already are, but on the other hand, applying the word killing on someone that's already dead is also questionable. You are offered various tools to do braining: knives, swords, axes, broken bottles, screwdrivers, and of course various types of firearms, from revolvers or pistols to shotguns and automatic weapons. One-handed weapons can be controlled with one hand, while two-handed weapons will swing from side to side when you move, making it possible but very uncomfortable to use. You may need a little practice to brain a zombie in melee. It has to be a broad and smooth motion, or you may fail to pierce the skull. Stronger enemies will have helmets on them, so in addition to smooth motion, you will need to look for cracks in those helmets and aim your weapon into the exposed part of a skull. Removing the weapon from zombie's head may also be tricky, as the weapon can get stuck, but with some practice and better gear, you will get a hang on it. All weapons have durability, so you cannot use them forever. In general, crafted weapons will be more durable than improvised ones. For example, a shiv will last you much longer than a broken glass bottle. This mechanics ensures that killing zombies costs resources, which increases the sense of survival, as you will have to avoid enemies to save resources. You cannot kill all zombies anyway, they keep respawning over time even if you don't leave the area. I'd like to sum up the game in 3 categories: story, gameplay, and long-term replayability. I was expecting to enjoy a storyline and I was not disappointed. The main quest's tasks might feel generic, but the story was good. I was curious what will happen next, and the ending was satisfying. There are several endings depending on your actions, but you won't get to make significant choices until the end of the game. Story 8 out of 10. Despite the amount of various weapons, they cost resources to make. Most of the time it's easier just to pierce zombies' brain with a cheap shiv than crafting something better. Firearms are even more costly to use. You not only need additional resources for bullets, but degrading firearms will start to jam at the worst possible moment. If you want a flawless experience, you will have to create a new firearm before the old one is even broken. The mechanics of durability were annoying to say the least. The same goes with respawning zombies. I understand the game wants to keep you busy, but clearing nearby zombies just to be surrounded again in a minute or so feels depressing. But maybe that was the point of game developers. Gameplay 6 out of 10. The game offers some replayability. To survive as many days as you can with more enemies and less resources every day. Radio Channel 47 will tell you where you can find additional loot or meet stronger enemies, but the game is not so engaging after completing the main story. Replayability 5 out of 10. The game is fun while you are going through the storyline, but gets boring very quickly after that. Thanks for watching, enjoy your day, don't get bitten, and recycle.
Hand over your bandages.